to another episode of Clouds of Meaning with your host Thabang. Today I've got a very special guest. I'm sitting here with the CEO of Altitude Connection, a consultancy, but she's my friend actually. I'd like to claim her. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Thabang Mashigo. How are you?
Very well, thanks, and thank you for having me on Clouds of Meaning.
Yes, thank you for honoring me. You know, he's such a busy person. I'm so glad that you finally came because I've been trying to get you here, and then you honored me, and I knew you are probably squeezing me in between things. So I know you're squeezing me in between things, but I'm really glad. So I mean, I think let me open by saying this. So what are you currently musing about, thinking about? Because I know you're a reflective person who observes things and I mean, you say these profound things when you speak. I've seen you speak. You've got this energy, and even when you post on your social media, you just have this energy about you. I'm feeling the energy now, so I'm quite excited actually. So what are you busy musing, thinking about, writing?
Yeah. Sure. I think firstly, I didn't squeeze you in my therapy. I am here because I wanted to be here, and in this day of age, we are not privileged to have meaningful platforms to speak our truth. So for me, I resonate with that. It's a safe space. It's open space. A lot of people don't have that, so I'm here because I want to be here. What am I musing about?
Thank you very much.
Sure. What am I musing about? I am musing about people. People as oysters of the world. With them being oysters of the world, they're running out of breathing space. We are alive, but we are so dead. And in being alive but dead, what is it that is dead within us, and what needs to be interrogated to bring us in par with life itself? It's not traveling, because no matter how much you travel, you still come back to the same situation. It's not the cars that we drive, because no matter how much you look good at it, the applaud only comes in that moment, and then it's gone. You face the same problem. It's not about standing on stage and speaking and being popular and being famous, and people glorifying you and idolizing you, because you still come back to that space. So I'm in a place where I'm interrogating that space. What does it look like? How does it feel? And we are in the light, but we live in a lot of darkness. And I think because of the darkness, we fail to be consumed by the light. And you know, I have conversations with people, and they are trying to get out, but they just don't know how. And so we're now technically being forced to stop relying on the external environment to make us feel good, and to start confronting internally, how has this played out in society? Churches are no longer mega, they're now micro. So people are no longer going to churches. People are no longer attending seminars like they used to, because it's like another talk shop, excuse me. People are resigning from work. We have psychiatric hospitals that are consumed. I believe therapists, psychologists, psychiatrists are the richest people.
I don't know what the richest, but busy, yes.
In the South African economy, because so much is happening and people cannot cope with themselves. So the enemy within really is rising. And for me, I'm just in that space of wonder to say we really need to be speaking about people management. Even HR in corporates are being affected because companies are finding that they don't have a effective retention strategy. People are not staying. Great talent is not being retained. Good people are dying. Right? So it's all these things that I'm thinking about, because you can't survive in life, in business, in family if you are not secure in yourself. and we're seeing that element of security is at risk.
Yeah, I mean, in the way that you describe it, and I think I sense it like this idea that it almost as if we are drowning.
Yeah.
We are drowning as humanity, as a society. South Africa, be it at work, in relationships.
Yeah.
It sounds as if things are overwhelming, and one can't talk to you without maybe reflecting on leadership. I think maybe let me start it there. So we've got a new administration now, and I know part of why people struggle as a psychologist. So I go and I see people in the wards, and so why are you here? You'd ask, and people would say, I can't take it there. I can't handle it. Either they want me to do things that I shouldn't do. Either they told me to not report to the one who's above me, my immediate superior. I must report to someone else. Either I'm working ridiculous hours that are unbearable, or I'm being abused by whoever is in charge, or my job is not secure. I have to change every time, I suppose, a minister changes or something like that.
Yeah.
So I get the question of leadership and all that and how it affects us. I'm so curious about that. I too wonder, what are your experiences and thoughts around that, though?
I think as a think tank and researcher, I always tend to defining things, because defining things then in a way gives it meaning, and from meaning you get understanding, and once you understand you're able to interpret. But for the first time in my life, I think in this era, in the African diaspora, the quality of life that we're living now has no definition. I attended an agriculture summit where I was facilitating, and there's a statement that one of the panelists said, and he said, we're arguing about the quantity of food, but we're not looking at the quality of the seed that is being planted. And for me, people, like the leadership that we have today is not based on alignment. So we have corruption, we have greed, we have all these negative things because people are incorrectly placed. If you are placed, in a good space where you feel fulfilled and you feel a sense of belonging, there's no reason why you would commit an injustice. But if you're incorrectly placed because you don't understand your power and where you are, the easier way is to escape to negativity. So right now we have an issue of people are incorrectly placed.
Deployed sometimes.
100%. You are a phenomenal secretary, but they've placed you to be an accountant of the company. And because you and numbers don't gel, it doesn't sit right with you. It doesn't produce, the relevant results or outcomes. And for me, it also goes back to the nature of comparison, the nature of judging. This comes from classism. Because classism has, standards, and it has certain levels, and it's the same as women and men. If you don't dress this way, you're judged accordingly. We're always placed in boxes, and this is why there's so much negativity in the world. But for me, if we can start with passion, your passion as a leader, as an entrepreneur, as a parent, it has to defy logic. Once your passion defies logic, you're in the right place. Because then you're driven by an energy that you can't even explain yourself. It's beyond you, right? And even your mind can't even comprehend it, right? But your mind is meant to manage and steward things. That's why we call it a thinking cap. But it has to manage and steward things that come from the heart, from the spirit, from the soul, which is energy oriented. And this is where your passion dwells. Once you have passion, The second step is to structure. So we look at people that say, okay, I'm a speaker, I'm a trainer, I'm a facilitator. Those are methodologies. That's not a skill.
Platforms and avenues.
But the core of your passion is what you speak about. What makes you tick? What makes you move? What makes you cold? What makes you comfortable? What confuses you? And so once you identify that passion, you are able to structure it accordingly. And once it's thoroughly structured, that's where you find your fulfillment. And your fulfillment could come, it's what we call success. It could come from profit, it could come from whatever. So for me, that triangle is misplaced altogether. You find that somebody's a CEO of a company, it's a auditing firm or accounting firm. How did they get there? Their parent forced them to study accounting, and they've always lived for the other but themselves. So if people learn to come back to this person without judgment, because we're still judging ourselves. If you are a teacher and society says, but teachers are, they don't earn a lot, or their lifespan is not too big because of the stress levels, or teachers are this. If you listen to that, it influences you and impacts you negatively. So the question is, what do we allow? That's the most important thing. And I just believe these are the basics that have perplexed and that have turned leadership for the West. Now I come from also a political environment. I was a speechwriter to selected ministers in parliament. I tell you, my whole being was diminished. My whole being was diminished because there were people that were there that couldn't even lead, people that were managers. And now, as a person that is reporting to somebody that is incompetent at times, it adds so much pressure because you're doing their work and yours as well.
Because you must manage them.
Exactly.
Make sure that you also don't look bad.
So we need leadership masterclasses more than ever, and this is what I'm striving to do. In our company, we've offered executive coaching and leadership
in altitude
connection. And we've also offered things like emotional intelligence, because it's a fallacy that emotions should not exist, because emotions are part of our being and they are very important, but managing them is the most important thing. So we've offered things like that. We've offered change management. We're now going to the space of employment equity and black economic empowerment, because companies are not understanding their own corporate structures. Excuse me. So we need to help them. We need to help them with those things. So for me, Thabang, just concluding this point, leadership really comes from within. Once you are placed in a space where you belong, you don't even need an MBL, Masters in Business Leadership. You don't even need, philosophical studies or theories, because you are in your space. And because you're in your space, you want to protect it with all you have. You want to make sure that there's stewardship, it's administrated well, there's structure, because you're in your space.
And what if, I think that's profound in how you put it. And what if somebody followed up and said, I hear the passion part, but what about if I follow opportunity, if I'm passionate about this, the classical one, I have this passion to stand in front of people, to entertain people. I just light up when I'm on stage or when I sing, and hey, but the bills
have to be paid.
There's an opportunity for this and this and this. I think I can do that. I can still survive. And how would you discuss that, explore that with a person who says, I'm with the passion part, but sometimes is that perhaps the platforms that are available do not maybe cater for me,
right?
And but here's an opportunity here that I could take, that could make something.
Sure. You asking a question to someone that has gone through that. That's my life, basically. So I wanted to be in theater. I wanted to study drama, but I took accounting as a subject. And way back then, my father had said, no, you can't take account. You can't take drama. So you took accounting. You're gonna stick with accounting. And But then public speaking, debating gave me the platform to express. I mean, I'm a very theatrical speaker. I'm a very emotive speaker. I paint pictures, I write. So what I did is I found avenues to express my desire. And I think the reason why sometimes we feel that way, in terms of your question, to say, you know, I want to do this but there's no opportunities available, is because we think we live in a life that does not have options. Once we stop thinking as if we don't have options, that's when things start flowing. So our minds are already captured in, I'm in employment, I'm in an 8 to 5, I have to pay the car, I have to. But once you see your skill and you avail a platform, you create a platform where it can be traded effectively, you then, and I'm not saying it's easy by no means, but I mean, for me, I mean, typical example, like you were saying, being on stage, etc., etc. I realized it's something that I didn't study for, but it's the most required commodity that I've outsourced in my life, right? So I might not be in drama on a stage at the theater, but every time I present to a client, or I'm facilitating a workshop, or I'm speaking in front of people, the message, that is my stage. And I might be perceived as an actress in that point, but I'm an actress that is informing and educating people. And for me, that's the greatest impact that can never be purchased with money, you know. So you might not be where you want to be, but you are where you are meant to be, right? So I don't regret being a speechwriter. I was headhunted to be a speechwriter, and that for me also showed me that, oh wow, so you don't only just speak, but you can actually write, you can actually structure things. It empowered, it showed me other gifts that I had, you know, the researcher, the knowledge, the strategic thinking, strategic inputs in meetings, and so we need to learn to listen to our experiences, because words are a purveyor of truth. So once you listen to your experiences, you then find the message. So this is where, I mean, people like you as a psychologist would say the biggest, you know, effect, or rather effect on adults, is childhood trauma. That childhood trauma visits us when you're old. But if you can trace back why those things happened, that pain can be translated into an expertise. That pain can be translated into profit, because people need those kind of services or advices, you know. So to answer your question, we need to stop feeling stuck as people, because that's the whole point of colonialism. That was the whole point of apartheid, to make us feel stuck, like we don't have options, like employment is the only thing that we can ever be. And I think another thing is we need to stop being scared. We are so infested with fear as people.
Where do you think it comes from, though?
Lack of exposure. Lack of exposure, it comes from comparison, where we're saying, but if someone comes from a privileged background, obviously they got it easy because maybe their forefathers left them with money or some kind of inheritance. It also comes from a lack of self-concept. I think as people, we don't understand our power. And this is why, like I've always said, we become jealous, we become intimidated, we become insecure, because we don't want to confront this person and what they have. And also, it's also listening to people's opinions. Opinions have governed our lives so much that we lose control of our own personal voices and perception. And so it breeds all these things, you know. And I believe we were born perfect. I really do. But because of experiences that we have misinterpreted, experiences which we have chosen to be frustrated from instead of empowered, we have become so locked, you know, in this thing that we feel like, no, we can't get out. Can't get out,
And you know, as you're speaking now, I'm just thinking about, and it's still linked to leadership, is the idea that sometimes I think we get trapped because people who are supposed to light the way, they don't. Like, for example, if we're exploring the idea that somebody to think outside the box, to not be stuck, to try something different, and if you're not being exposed, or if somebody is not making the time to say, hang on, let's do something different. If I even just think about, say, government, for example, one of the things, that things government does well, but then there are other things I just think, my goodness, like, I wonder if a government would tell the people, listen, you have it in you to make a success of your life, and these are we can help you do 1, 2, 3 because it's in you, you know. But I don't know if that's a nice marketing. I don't know if that would work well for a campaign, because part of your message to win, I suppose, you have to convince me that I need you, and then if I'm convinced that I need you, I don't know if then I'll start thinking about creating platforms, different structures, you know. So how then linked to the idea of, I suppose, leadership, and how do then people get out of the stuckness of dependency, of, I suppose, comparison? How does somebody almost try something different in the current context of leadership? Because it's like you must know somebody to be somebody, you know, because I think it's also a bit of a struggle for people to have a voice, to find themselves, to pursue them in the current climate with the people. If people who are leading us, or prominent people even, who are perpetuating the idea that we need them, they have to lead us. So how do you balance those ideas?
I think it's real wherever you are. And it's so funny you mentioned that, without mentioning any political parties. But if you look at the advertising, it's, for me, it says a lot, because there's one political party that says, we can lead you, you know, vote for us, we can lead you, we can give you a better life. And then there's another political party saying, this is for us, it's ours. So there's no element of dictatorship or you know, this sovereignty that is imposed on people.
Let's do it together.
That whole, it's ours, it's for us, let's do it together. So it's inclusive. And then there's one that says, no, forget about all of this. You know, this is what we can do for you. We're not sure if you'll be part of it, but just trust us. You know? So branding for me is very important, and how leadership as a result has been branded. The core of leadership, Thabang, is about humanity. Once we lose that, we've lost the plot. If you look at the former president of Venezuela, Hugo Chavez, sorry. Hugo, and I'm not saying because he did this, it makes him a better leader. But the core of Hugo's leadership, after he was captured by economic hitmen that wanted to control Venezuela with their commodities and so forth, he said, okay, if you guys are going to try to do this, the little that I can do to make sure that I express, you know, my leadership and I serve the people is, I'm going to take my salary and it's going to go to the poor, 80% of it. That was his way of giving back, because he was concerned about the quality of life in Venezuela. Right now, and earlier on, I mean, we were touching on corruption. You know, there was a great speaker, Dr. Simon, I forgot his surname, unfortunately.
Sinek?
I think it's Sinek, yes. Who once, I think it's Sinek, I'm not too sure.
Well, I'm not sure if it's the same person,
But he once said, if your child is not able to share a sandwich with another child that does not have, that is, you are raising a corrupt rascal. You know, and that's what it's about. Right now, corruption, it's all about greed and selfishness. But if we can't share with one another, it's a cycle, and we are recycling that even in our kids, how they are raised. When, you know, little like family functions, they will never sit with their other cousins because maybe their other cousins don't look like them. So even in our own social governance, in our households, there's corruption within that at a micro level, you know. So right now, I think the biggest problem that affects leadership, Thabang, is that we are using the same political system and source of governance. We've inherited it from the previous dispensation. Nothing has changed.
Yeah, how can things be different if you're using the same tools?
100%. I mean, China was colonized. And when they were colonized before the Industrial Revolution, they just said, actually, to fix this problem, we're going to copy exactly what they made us do. Cheap labor, innovation, etc., etc. And it was just a duplication. So how do we get out of emotional dependency and also thinking that, you know, obviously we have superiors and we can't really do it for ourselves? For me, it starts with our personal branding. You know, Starbucks doesn't make money from marketing and advertising. They make their money because they know they've personalized their brand. In writing people's names, it makes them feel important. So their business model is based on humanity, elevating humanity, making them feel worthwhile. Because when the person that is taking your order, once it's ready and they call your name, there's a sense of pride, there's a sense of, you know, you feel that, okay, they call me. It might not be big, but you feel
but it's something.
You know,
at least somebody calls your name.
100%, or they know you. There's a sense of belonging there. Coca-Cola as well. They spend R2 on a can, but they spent millions on marketing and advertising. But if you look at Coke's adverts, it's all about life. It's all about you. You know. Also, same thing, putting the names on the bottle. But another thing, even the pictures, it's gatherings, it's harmony, it's people,
it's food, enjoyment.
Exactly, and that's our deeper longing as people. That's what we want. So if maybe politically and even leaders of corporates can learn to master the branding aspect, maybe there could be changes. You know, and this is why a lot of insurance companies are making money, because they hit the family structures. They hit the children. I mean, most funeral advertisements, they just put a child there and you feel like, oh my gosh, my children.
If I left my...
what is going to happen when I die to my... You know what I mean? They hit the core, knowing that it's your babies that matter most in your life. With food as well, it looks scrumptious, it looks appetizing, it looks tasty. And you just feel like, okay, that's what I want. I want to experience that. Because there's only two clients in this world. People that buy to escape pain or experience pleasure. Those are the only two clients that we ever have. And this is what also encourages or influences voter intelligence. People either vote because they don't want this, and a lot of people, I must say, for example, maybe I could even mention, some people will not vote for any other party other than the ANC, because without the ANC, they're already thinking about apartheid, that we can't afford to go back to that. And it's already, there's a racial composition that is associated with that. And when you think EFF, you think we can't be ruled by kids who have the right message but the wrong approach. You know. And when you think about DA, you think, oh, no, white monopoly capitalism. This is it. This is so. Voter confidence is influenced by how things are branded. And I think if leaders can learn to brand themselves, to say, you know, I'm actually here for you. You matter. Tell me what you want. And this is why even in corporate, in my workshops, I would tell, you know, senior executives that there's only three things, and three things only, that make you get a buy-in from your employees. And you can't treat them the same. It's not a same shoe fits approach, right? The first is that people feel rewarded or have an essence of importance through remuneration. And remuneration is linked to growth. I can't be a PA for 5 years and I'm still in the same position, and you're not seeing my potential when I'm doing other things.
Do
like,
something.
you know what I mean? I want to grow. I want to grow, and not because I want a bigger house and a bigger car. But the quality of life for me must improve. Others just want empathy. Sometimes if you take a taxi and it's raining and you arrive late at work, some people just want a boss that could say, it's okay, I understand, it's a mega taxi, you know, and you had to be late, I get it. And others it's just a mere appreciation.
Yeah.
Credited.
Yeah.
If you do the work, well done. You know, awarding them or saying, this is phenomenal encouragement.
Yeah.
And this is why we need to understand as organizations, as entrepreneurs, as body corporates, as government, what do our clients want?
Yeah.
And that's where it starts.
Lovely. I mean, I like what you're saying. And I was actually thinking, if we're even making it a bit more particular, I was thinking about women in business.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, so you're a woman in business. I find that there are things that women go through in business.
You're right.
Where you want to maybe assert yourself or set up your own business, or sometimes it's not even your skill, but you are asked to do strange things. Strange things for you to get opportunities. You need to I suppose it's linked with the idea of corruption. Either you have to pay money, or you have to give your body, or you have to do certain things so that you can function. I mean, so I just wonder about women in business and how difficult or easy now, if it is. I don't know if you have some experiences on that.
I do, and I think just before I even touch on the business, I just want to speak about how difficult it is being a woman in corporate and in government as well. It's so hard because as a director you can be reduced to a tea lady automatically. Where you're summoned to get lunch, to make tea, to do this for a male employee. Other times it's comments that are being passed on about your body. Sometimes it's your intelligence being undermined. Sometimes it's the stereotypes where they just generalize women. So you don't even see me as Thabang. You don't even see me as a person. You don't see my mind.
Women are like...
women are like... It's a problem, and this is what we are confronted with even in relationships as well. That, of course, women always do that, so I'm sure you know. So it's quite a dismissive approach. And a dismissive approach doesn't allocate any time for women to have a voice, to be seen. So being a woman in business has been the most difficult journey for me, I must say. I've had male counterparts who I thought were friends, and we're in the same industry and we've got each other's back, but they would never ever say, Thabang, this contract, they wanted so and so, but I would do the same for them. So those kind of relationships have never been reciprocal. So it was never based on reciprocity, because you are seen as smaller or undermined. I've had a situation in my industry where I was told women are like oil. Before they become petrol, they need to be refined. And female speakers or facilitators don't exist. They have to be trained by men. Under the pretext that men have more experience and have, or are rather related as quality entrepreneurs. I've had situations where I've been compared to men to say, in fact, you are like this guy. You are like that guy who's a speaker, or who does this. So it's never that guy's like me.
He's not like you.
He's not like me. I'm like that guy, So I've also had situations where I have not been paid because it's seen as though, I'm a woman, I'll get past it and I'll stay because of my source of loyalty. Women are loyal. Women are, they are warm. So even if you do wrong, it's fine. They're forgiving. You can get away with it. So there's a lot of things that I've had to confront due to my sexuality, being a woman, and it's so funny because it contradicts my upbringing, where I was raised by a very strong father, who always affirmed me through character and didn't really, reduce me to, oh, you're a girl, you're a boy. I just did what I had to do, There are times where I've had to write proposals like 3 times. and have meetings, and after meetings they want a quotation, after quotation they want an invoice, after invoice they want an agenda. Like you have to do so many things just to get one deal. And if it's a guy, it's, oh no, okay, fine, oh, you're married, tick. Your business is how old, tick. Oh, okay, no, you can do the job. So gender polarity is becoming very big. It's becoming a huge discussion. And now it's not even about equality. It's not even about pay, but it's about recognition. And that's what it's boiling down to. Recognize me as Thabang, not a woman.
So do you think
or merge the two?
Merging. But the other question I would have, and I thought, it would be nice to help me think through it. So this idea that some of the things that we suffer, for example, so some of the unique challenges that women experience. So I'm wondering if it's unique to women or if it's unique to
people,
to business. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
Let's say you have to be a certain person to succeed in business, and maybe we might use ideas like maybe you must be a bit cutthroat. Maybe you must be a bit disagreeable.
Right.
Maybe you must be a bit secretive with your ideas, So I'm just wondering if that's a male thing, or if it's the nature of the businesses that we create, and so where I'm not sharing a deal with you, it might not necessarily because. It might not be because you're a woman, but because in business I'm not supposed to tell you what I'm supposed to. So I'm just wondering how much of it is prejudice against women, and how much of it is just the kind of businesses and the culture we live in, where it's almost like a dog eat dog world. Because what I want to say is because I think I was reading a book. I think it's called it's a Forbes book. Forbes I forget, but it's Forbes. And there's an interesting idea there about I think it was a lady complaining about, this woman was complaining about women who made it through the structures. So women who have broken through the ceiling, the glass ceiling. And she said, we thought some of these women would help us. But in fact, these women then they behave like the men. So that's what raises the question, is it now a gender thing, or is it now just the way people behave when they have things and want things?
Sure. That's quite a profound question, Thabang, and I think for me, to a certain degree, it becomes both ways. And I think that is premised on different experiences that people go through. Because behavior is a discussion altogether outside of gender, because behavior is people specific. But touching on the first component of the question about approach, and of course when you're confronted in situations where it's male counterparts, etc. I'm a co-director in an agricultural business and a solar energy business, and the guys that I work with, I'm the only female on the board, and the guys I work with, you said, look, Thabang, the reason why we've called you here is because we need a woman to transact in business, because that's what policy says. The BE scorecard says, look, you need a woman. But for them, it's like we don't trust women. For matters that to some degree could not be discussed. And I find that a lot, because I've got a lot of male friends who tell me, but women are dangerous. Women can turn against you, women can do this. So I've had the experience of both, in this context. Also, where I've had to train senior managers, and most of them are men. They are traditional men. So traditionally, a woman doesn't stand in front of them to speak. So I've had to put on that, authoritative position, but also gentle. Not too dominating, but to lead the discussion, to say, this is the business of the day, and how do I do that? In my facilitation, I make sure that I give space for decision making.
Yeah.
So whatever they decide needs to go engaging. I ask questions. Make people feel important, just to show them that this is not a man to woman kind of thing, but it's a skill to skill kind of a basis. But you're right in saying as well that I think sometimes, even research will tell you that men succeed more in business than women. Why? Because they have sustainable coalitions. So even in their ventures, they still look out for each other.
Yeah. You find that, I suppose, in some spaces, men then maintain the relationships that they have.
Yes, and they're able to help each other more. But that's also, I am safely, or rather without fear of contradiction, also generalizing that. Because I've had cases where, a wife of someone, this guy committed suicide. Even after reaching out to his friends, when he went bankrupt and things were happening, no one came through. So the element of brotherhood, I can't say exists in all men. But generally, I find it stronger that I am your brother, I am my brother's keeper. So men have that thing where, as a group, they have each other's backs. Another friend was telling me that he's a guy, and they are on a group. WhatsApp group, and so one has Netflix, the others don't want to get Netflix, so they use his account. And one day they all were logged in and he wanted to use it. He's like, guys, one of you needs to log off because I want to watch my Netflix. But that for me was just a profound example of sharing and brotherhood. And I find it, as women, we are lacking that. We are lacking that so much, to the point whereby businesses have failed because of that attitude. And this is where the behavioral element comes in. Because behavior is an expression of thought and feeling. And it just shows me, if you betray me, it shows me what have you been meditating on about me, you know. And with women, I find that it is there. And some of them are right, and I think, in maybe to protect both parties, in the example that you gave, there's also an expectation that because we are women, we have to help each other. And I think for me that approach is just wrong. It needs to be, okay, so how can we combine our skills and expertise? Like Abo Withhold, companies that of women that came together to say, okay, you in accounting, you in HR, you in leadership, you in this. Let's combine these skills and make it work together. And I think for us, it's not that those things don't exist. I think there's a lack of structure of those kind of setups. And so, but also for the element of those who are at the top, for me, I find it very difficult to have a mentor. I can't. My mentorship is in the wilderness. It's in life. I learn through hardship. I learn through difficult seasons, joyous, tumultuous, etc., etc. But I really find that the element of intimidation comes in when there's an expectation, or when there's mentorship or some kind of coaching, because a mentor or coach is in a position where they're elevated. And when you ask for mentorship, in their mind, this child or this person needs me, so maybe I can use them for my own gain in one way or another. And because they want to use you for their own gain or one way or another, that mentor sees the child that they wanted to be. So they could be at a higher position, executive, etc., etc. But when you're asking for help, they take that vulnerability and they manipulate it to their own advantage.
Write this proposal.
Exactly my point. You know what I mean? No, you can rent this office space, but I need you to work twice a week. You know what I mean? So for me, it's never pure, solid, or pure, or sincere. And for me, that's been my experience with working with other women or coaches, mentors, or women societies, or women, there's just so much. There's so much that we even reduce it to, she's got a Louis Vuitton bag and I don't, it's probably from China, those kind of things. It becomes petty discussions, you know what I mean? So it's very easy for us to have the backs of men, but us as women, I think if we learn to stand together, we wouldn't even have these gender discussions that men are better than women. But we need to be solid within ourselves.
The other thing I think about, you're a trailblazer. When you're talking about mentorship and stuff like that, and what I find difficult with people who lead, like if you're unique, my experience with you is that you don't necessarily, you don't fit in any category, any category, but also very different from if I try to imagine women as a group. You stand out a little bit in terms of pioneering, there are women who do those kind of things. So, but a person like that, I don't know if you'd find mentors. Because
I've failed.
You're doing something new, and how does somebody mentor you, because you are coming up with different things?
I'm like the problem child that can't be boxed. Look, you put me at an agricultural conference, I'll speak about agriculture. You put me at a sex and toys, I'll probably find something. So I think because also just I appreciate the fact that traveling to different countries, also having contacts in different countries who have become my friends, has helped me with that. But also being curious about life. I'm a very curious person. I don't want not to know. Like, I don't want to not know stuff.
You don't want things to puzzle you. You make sure that you find out what is this, I want to know.
100%. So no, and this is why we need to accept. I don't even think it's about special cases. I think sometimes you just need to accept that your path is different to others, and your path might be more unique than others. Unique in a sense that you could be a late bloomer, so you could never relate with people your age group. You could never relate with women. That's why for me it's very hard to. I don't have a lot of female friends. It's hard for me to keep them around.
Why is it hard?
I don't know what to talk about because women in general like shoes.
Or the ones that you experienced.
What I experienced like shoes. I like cars, fast cars. So I think and another thing, women, we generally like cliques sometimes. So I'm not a cliquey person. I don't do well with groups. And I also think because I'm just in my own lane, in my own flow. It's not even just about women, but I find it hard to have friends.
I don't see you having a mentor. I can see mentors in different parts. But
no,
I don't see that there'll be one person who will be able to accommodate all the things that you do.
I failed.
Well, maybe you must just make peace.
No, I have.
With the fact that you're pioneering stuff, and if that's what you're doing, then it's going to be very difficult to find someone.
No, I have. I've stopped looking. I'm just inspired by what other people do, other women do, other men do. If there's something that I can learn from you, I reach out. Can we partner? Can we work together? Can you advise me? Can you show me? And this is what diversity and inclusion is about. It looks beyond race. It looks beyond gender. It looks beyond culture and ethnicity. You just generally reach out. And so I've got the personality of an explorer, and for me, if you stop exploring, you stop living. So mentorship, having a mentor, and I think a lot of mentors don't like me because I tell them that, hey, I don't really understand.
I see what you're trying to do, but I don't understand. The time is just going so quickly, but I can't talk to you and not talk money.
Yes, I love money.
So money, where do you think we are missing it?
Okay. The first thing for me is we are big savers, not big investors. Investment is like a language of a particular race, or somehow it's like we are foreign to that, but we're big on saving. Stokvel is an investment. And you know, the thing is, we've always had it within us. You know, if the stokvel industry has a net worth of about 70 billion now, we should be considering such spaces, you know. And within stokvels, I mean, there's that whole lending, borrowing, etc., etc. I think also perception is something that has influenced us. Let me give you an example. If you were sitting with a property agent from Soweto and from Midrand, chances are you choose Midrand because of how it's sold to you. But you know, for someone who is in corporate or working wherever, they wouldn't think Soweto. And I don't think distance would be the first reason. It would be like, no, safety, Soweto, Juang. And by the way, the Lokshin in the township is the safest space because your neighbors are your neighbors. They know what's happening. When you're gone, you have eyes and ears all over. So perception, I think, is what's really encouraging us. You'd rather put your money in a bank than in a stokvel because no stock feeling but you know. So exactly, you know what I mean. So it's also our belief system. We have to move from ideologies that have been commercialized for our degradation. There are ideologies that have been made for us to suffer. Like putting your money in a bank. I don't believe in conventional banks. And even now, what is challenging...
Where do you keep then all that money?
Well, of course it's in a bank. Of course it's in a bank.
But if you had it your way, you'd do something different.
Something completely different.
You were saying even now something.
Like for example, Islamic banking and finance. That is an alternative banking system.
Maybe break it down a little bit. So what happens there?
So Islamic finance and banking, they don't believe in the riba. Riba is interest. So unlike conventional banks that we have now, whatever, everything
you
that
buy a house, the first few years you're just paying off interest.
Bank charges, like the charges on its own is a problem. Fees, 9 rand that's been debited, 9 rand for, I don't know, transferring what. So they have their ways in making money, but because Islamic banking and finance is based on a religious belief that everything belongs to God, and everything belongs to God, which they call Allah, and in doing so, we can't be selfish about it. We can't want to make money out of the resources of Allah and out of God, and so they don't believe in interest. So they have the takaful called life insurance. They have the sukuk, which is an interest-free bond. So you go to their bank, you know, you get some kind of a plan, and based on your pay slips, etc., etc., they design an installment, you know,
which doesn't have interest.
Outcome. It does not have interest.
How does the bank make money?
The bank does not make money. It's a fund.
How do they pay for the offices, for the lights?
These people have money.
So would somebody then have to donate money?
So they do have funds where 40% of their tax goes into that fund.
Oh, I see. So
and this is how they fuel, right?
Beautiful.
40%, but they don't call it tax, they call it their tithe.
Oh, okay, so you do tithe, but then it helps everyone else, taking all your fellow brothers and sisters,
taking care of
out
them.
of poverty in a sense.
100%.
Hey, because these banks are killing us.
They really are.
It's like they have their hand in one's pocket, actually. It's like when you move, money is coming out. 100%. Okay, so and what about consumerism? Because I think, I mean, you're talking about investing and versus, you know, just spending, but I think we also live in a consumeristic society where
100%.
we just consume. I mean, nice things are nice things, but I think some of us go a little bit overboard with not thinking that, but maybe I need to, if I have a phone, right? I mean, do I really need the latest one every year? I mean, or is it working? Could I use the one that I have? Or like we want the latest and the brightest, and I wonder sometimes if that's necessary.
100%. It's called popular culture. We choose to follow things that are probably far from us. Why do we follow them? We want to stay relevant. We want to stay important. We want to be realistic, instead of creating that within ourselves. I mean, it's the same as clothes. You've got a winter jacket, but you still want to buy another one.
You want the latest
one. And this is how consumerism is fed. It's through advertising. It's so funny. There was an interview I was listening to, and they were speaking about modern alcoholism. To say adverts now have changed around alcohol. Now it's all about the glitz, the glam. You want to be seen with a glass of champagne. You want to if it's a whiskey, you're in a cigar lounge, you're wearing a suit. That feeds into a perception of power, authority. Being a man or being strong. So those kinds of ads, which feed into propaganda, which feed into perception as well. Perception persuades us, and this is how we're being persuaded. It's buying into an image that we want to be. So it's a play of psychology, it's a play of the mind. Because now you're told to dream big, see big, think big, and then you see it on TV, you're like, that's what they're talking about, right? Because your dreams you haven't given your dreams meaning. Why do you want that? What is it gonna do for you? Are you buying a car because you want to feel safe in it, or because it's fashionable? Exactly. So. But that has a lot to do with discipline, Thabang. We are not a disciplined society. We're not a society that can control ourselves. So the issue of wanting to be relevant, and this is why as well, we have 19 million people, South Africans, that are blacklisted and that are listed in the credit bureau. 19 million. 19 million South Africans.
That's quite a number. But that's very difficult, and I don't know if you're familiar with the they call it the marshmallow test. Because so that idea of delayed gratification, and that how it goes. I mean, so if you apply it to ideas like investing, to think for tomorrow, and a human being is actually such a creature that is different from an animal. That we are the ability to do for today the things we want tomorrow. Makes our lives better. And if we don't understand that, then that makes us struggle a little bit. And I think maybe this culture, this consuming culture, needs to be interrogated a little bit. I mean, so. I suppose, now, are there things that you want to get off your chest, things that...
Things like what? That's a difficult one.
Things like life and leadership and business, things you feel we are missing, or maybe one or two things that you feel, if this thing changed, or if this thing was addressed, I think we'd have a better way of living, a better way of relating. And what are some of your frustrations?
Okay, I think firstly, simplicity is the greatest investment that you can ever make for yourself. Some of my frustrations, definitely the political landscape that we're in at the moment. I strongly believe that it's not an advocate for equality. I believe that it's a system that is still trying. It's not in any form elevating humanity. It's putting us back to what we're trying to run away from. What are we trying to run away from? Remnants of colonialism. We don't want to be employed. We don't. No one wants to be stuck in an 8 to 5 job. There are people, yes, that are entrepreneurs, meaning they're not really entrepreneurs. They don't have ideas for a particular market or two. They don't have aspirations to have a niche, right? But they're entrepreneurs that can push entrepreneurs. So what we need to encourage is a dialectical relationship between the two. I have a skill, I have a gift, I see this company, but I actually am, on the other hand, a good administrator. This is the entrepreneur. So a balance of those relationships, and to then see the entrepreneur not as inferior to the entrepreneur, but see them as, wow, we actually need each other. And this is what we are lacking. We don't have an element of need. there isn't that thing of, I need you in my life. We have so much pride in our spaces, and that makes us irritable towards our kids. It makes us angry towards our husbands and our partners. It makes us bitter towards life. So we don't have an appetite for living. We don't have an appetite for life. And I also feel that with our political landscape, that's my biggest frustration at the moment, Thabang.
Are you hopeful about the future in terms of young people? We say young, but I don't know if young also means different ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's because sometimes we say, the youth are involved, or we have now young ministers. But I don't know if that equates to young as in different. It's just maybe young in terms of your birth certificate and but fresh ideas. But are you hopeful that, because the other thing that's happening, it seems like there's a shift. I think
there is.
There's a shift, and for me the shift makes me think about. It's like we're in an experimental era. This is what I
100%.
Yeah. So I don't know. Are you hopeful about the future?
I'm hopeful about the future in that. Here's the thing about young people. It's not about having young people involved. It's about having the right young people involved. And I think this is where we get it wrong, because there are youth who you could say jump in the river and they will jump and swim. And there are youth that will say, no, but this river is too cold. I can't really risk my life because it's too deep. So for me, having the right young people is young people who will question things that are conventional. Young people who will challenge. Young people who will look beyond themselves and say, I know what poverty feels like, so everything that I am will fight this. I know how it feels to having encountered 1, 2, 3. Having the right intentions, for me, that's the most important. So it's not just about youth involvement, because youth are people. They're like you and me. It's just the age difference, but it really is about people who are allocated in spaces that are relevant for them. And just like we said earlier on, passion that will fuel structure that will fuel fulfillment. And once you're fulfilled in what you do, there's impact. It's just people that want to be puppets. Young people that are willing to listen, but those that are also governable in a sense. Those that have the right morals, the right fiber of leadership as well. Young people that are not in particular spaces, not only because of financial gain or whatever, but to really be concerned about people, because Africa's got a long way to go. There's a lot in all sectors that needs to be done. I'm pretty hopeful. I'm pretty hopeful for that. And the second thing that I'm concerned about is really business. I believe in entrepreneurship, and I believe that's the only thing that could resuscitate or emancipate our continent. And for me, speaking about the young, I wish we can breed young people that believe in themselves, because self-doubt and a lack of self-belief is really crippling. And the rates of suicide, the rates of depression, globally there's 300 people in the world that are suffering from depression. That is a market on its own.